Been waiting for a day that is not either smoggy because of the wildfire smoke or like during a heat wave. So today is the perfect day, and I will show you all of the updates, which are a lot, that have been happening in my urban farm and food forest that I started developing in 2020, spring 2020 of last year. So I've done a lot of sheet mulching, I've done a lot of no-dig gardening, and like just experimenting with like intercropping and different techniques, high intensity planting, as well as like deep watering and pruning, all these different things that I've been learning from different YouTubers. So I just really want to thank everyone that's out there that's doing their thing. I'm really inspired by everyone, so hope you're inspired by me too. Let's take a look. So I've got some of my perennials that, this is kind of my perennial area that I focused on a lot last year. Not as much going on this year. There's a volunteer sun gold tomato, which there's always seems to be one here, which is funny. I love sun gold, so I just left it there. This was the first dahlia to bloom for me that I got as a gift from somebody, because I dug up all my dahlias last year thinking I was so smart and I was going to divide the tubers, and they all got moldy in storage. And I love dahlias, so that made me sad. But the thing about plants is, you know, you can always trade and swap and get new ones, and plants do really want to propagate themselves, so they kind of make it easy. That's purple sprouting broccoli I focused on, and I think it sprouts in the fall or winter, and so I'll have some sprouting broccoli in the cold season, which is nice. Here are my hot peppers. So I've got a cayenne, starting to turn red, cherry pepper, which is from my boss. She said it's like an heirloom in her family, which is really cool. And they taste really good. Sugar Rush peach. I'm really excited about this one. This is super loaded. It hasn't turned like that lovely peach color that I'm expecting quite yet, but it will. There's still a month or two of warm weather. These are like my kind of cobbled together flower beds, and I made them out of like just pieces of firewood, or like pieces of like tree limbs that I salvaged. This is a chrysanthemum which hasn't bloomed yet. I don't know if it will. Marigolds, some alyssum and stuff like that, and sunflower, which hasn't bloomed yet. I sowed that one kind of later. And I just really love, like, it's kind of like doing a flower arrangement, but a living one. So this is a potato vine intermixed with some zinnias, which are definitely one of my favorite flowers now. And in between, there's some marigolds, pot calendula, I think is what it's called. Just love that peachy color. And more zinnias. And you can tell everything's been sheet mulched. This all used to be grass and not really a functional planting medium, and so I have now planted all sorts of stuff. This is a mock orange, some ajuga, carpet ajuga, strawberries, daylily. They're all doing great. This is a Marketmore 76 cucumber. It's been very productive. Not a super long like vine or anything, but it's been very productive, beautiful, healthy. Pruned off like all the bottom leaves to prevent powdery mildew. And let's take a look at the back side of this. I love the colors of this Japanese maple. It's like letting me know that fall is impending, and to appreciate every moment that we have in our gardens. Here's some turnips, golden ball turnip and cilantro that I sowed a couple weeks ago. Here's some eggplant. That's like a mystery one. I don't really know. Somebody gave that to me. Antigua. And This is a persimmon tree that my mom planted here. She says that the one that's at her house is not doing quite as well as this one, and I really do think it's the wood chips. You know, trees are made of wood and, you know, wood chips, and so kind of makes sense that like the fungi that are feeding off of the wood chips to break it down are also feeding this tree. So here, these are the Blauhide pole bean. Such a beautiful way to, like, I don't know, like decorate your garden with just like trellises of things growing and just like letting nature take over and kind of make it a little bit wild. Let it be wild. Let's see, peas. I've got some like fall peas sowed in here. So I've really been on my succession sowing game this year, because last year I didn't know, I was my first year gardening, so I just kind of sowed everything at the same time and a bunch of it, and now I've learned a lot about intercropping, so planting different kinds of plants together like peas. I've got some turnip in here, turnip seedlings, some eggplant, and beans and mizuna, all kinds of things. So this is another example of intercropping, but it's specifically the Three Sisters method, plus a tomato. But here's a squash down there. I think that's a scallop squash of some kind, I forget. And then there's like, so there's, it's hard to even like see what's what. Here's the corn stalk, obviously, and then there's the bean plants growing up the corn stalk. So beans, corn, and squash are the Three Sisters. And then there's also this tomato, which is the crushed heart tomato. It's really loving like hanging out with the Three Sisters. So I think that I might do more experimentation with like intercropping in the future. It's just really fun to see plants growing together, like I think how they would be if humans didn't, you know, try to over control everything. My herbs doing well: tarragon, purple basil, oregano, all that good stuff. Here's a winter melon that my mom wanted me to plant here, and I let it go free. There's a couple, there's one right there. It's not quite as big as the one she had last year, but still pretty big. Has the potential to be pretty big. And here is the corn forest. Gets a decent amount of sun over here, so lots of corn cobs forming. I planted a bunch of annuals, like I sowed them into trays like in the springtime, and so I've got different things like marigolds and like coreopsis and stuff like that I planted out. And here's a few more little eggplants, little Japanese white eggplants. They're so cute. I just wanted to show you guys that. And then yeah, so as far as the perennials and stuff go, let's take a look at the seed library. Okay, so I put this here, I think like in this early spring, and I just got off of Craigslist. It's not like the fanciest thing, but I did like drill some corrugated plastic on top so the rain would like stay off of it. I put a little like donation bin there, and I appreciate you guys leaving some donations for me. So this is just like a little like place to share seeds and stuff like that. I think here's doing some maintenance here. It's looking kind of empty, which is good because people have been taking seeds, but I will restock this come next spring. I'll probably cover it actually in the winter time so it doesn't get like blown over or anything, or get too wet. So this is all like different perennials I've kind of salvaged. This is like a sedge, I think that's called a smoke bush. That plant has an interesting story too. It was just like in a bag at Lowe's, and like it didn't have a price tag or anything, and I asked the cashier like how much it was, and he was like, well, didn't have a price tag, you can just go ahead and take it out of here. And I was like, okay. Like, I think it's called a Dracaena or something, I don't know, but it just looks like a little palm tree and I love it. Some kind of Daphne, which surprisingly is doing pretty well here, even though it seems like that plant likes shade. I don't know, maybe it has a little bit of shade from its neighbors. Dahlia, and this like purple sage somebody gave me has multiplied massively. And isn't it better just to have something that's like edible in a landscape that you can use for like medicine and tea and like cooking, instead of like just a plant that is pretty? I think that's kind of cool, but pretty plants are cool too. Another dahlia. Here's a penstemon. I don't know why it's kind of flopped over, but it's really beautiful. Let's see, there's so many plants, I can't talk about each and every one of them. But I do need to talk about this one. This is a dahlia, which is one of my favorite flowers. And I love how it just kind of captures it's like a centerpiece for my garden right here. Just a little draw for the eye. This is the apple tree that I salvaged from someone who lives in South Seattle. It's a North Pole apple or something like that. I forget. Anyways, it's producing apples, so that is very exciting. And I put them in little mesh bags, or like those little party favor bags. There's 2 of them in there because I've heard that there's a lot of like pests that go after apples, since there's a lot of pesticide spraying in eastern Washington, so they all flock to western Washington. So trying my best with that, just experimenting. More zinnias. Look at this one, so fantastic. I love that. It's like, why do people buy like, you know, like fake flowers and like, I don't know, it's just, nature's so beautiful. This is kind of petered out. It used to be like calendula and poppies in the springtime, but I'll probably save a bunch of these seeds and like share them with people. I got these seeds from my friend Lay, so I will share them with them. And calendula, plenty of seeds here. They'll self-sow next spring. But another dahlia. Let's look at the veggies here. So annual veggies take a little more, I would say, just nutrients and like care than say like perennials. So I kind of have both going on. The perennials are sort of like the perimeter and like sort of what encloses my garden, and then the annuals are sort of in the middle here. So what I've got is I've got some like sugar pie pumpkins and stuff down here, and then you'll obviously notice, so this one is Galop des Cygnes or something. It's like a French pumpkin that's like supposed to have little warts on it. I'm afraid to touch it. I don't want it to fall down. It's not gonna fall down, but it's just so amazing that it's like right in the middle of this like trellis here. And I actually got that one at a plant swap, and I'm so glad I planted it because it's like a monster. It just grows up and then like it's suckered out to like, I don't know, just everywhere on this trellis, which is perfect. That's what I wanted it to do, to cover this trellis. So other things, here's a lemon cucumber. It's kind of cute. I would probably pick that soon. And there's another one on that side. You'll notice a little bit of powdery mildew. I need to prune a little bit more. I pruned a bunch the other day, but I need to still prune some more. So I sowed some like fall crops here. There's a celery, but there's rutabaga. It's purple top rutabaga. Uzbek carrot, which I'm really excited about. It's like a fat yellow carrot that's like fat all the way through. And then Chioggia beet. My beets didn't do well this spring, and I haven't really been a beet person in the past, but I don't think I've just had them the right way, so I will try again for fall. And those are the Chioggia ones, are the ones that have cool little like rings, like candy stripe kind of rings, so excited for that. And this I think is called a yellow crookneck squash or something. It's got little bumps on it. It's kind of cool. Yeah, these are all sugar pie pumpkins. I'll show you the one that's over there actually. I'm really just taking you on a tour like if you were a person here. Here's the sugar pie pumpkin. That's the ripest one. It's turning orange. And then I've also got an Aunt Molly's ground cherry. So they produce these little like almost like tomatillo husks. I think they're related actually, and they don't need 2 plants to pollinate, which is cool. Here's some leftover cabbages and stuff like that from the spring. But what I'm really excited to show you are my tomatoes, because I've put them on this cattle panel trellis. You'll remember the video I did on that a couple months ago. I really made sure that I did this right, because it's been a really inspiring thing to me to be able to grow healthy tomatoes. Last year, all of them were grown in that little section there with tomato cages, and that was a massive failure. There was a lot of blight, and nobody ever told me that tomato cages aren't for tomatoes. They're not the best for tomatoes, in my opinion. But I learned this all from Roots and Refuge Farm, from a lady named Jess who lives in South Carolina. And so I've been really inspired by it, and I'm really happy that I did a good job. So proud of this and showing you guys. These are Sun Golds from my friend Melissa. This is the Black Beauty tomato. Look at that. No, that is a Black Beauty right there. And this one's kind of looking like I can feel that it's soft, so that one should be ready soon. Brad's Atomic Grape. Now, I sold a lot of these to you guys and to people around Seattle, so I hope that you guys are enjoying just as much success as I am with these. This is the Beauty King tomato, probably the one that I was the most excited about. It has these amazing stripes that, I don't know, it just looks so juicy. And it is, it's very fruity, juicy. Yellow tomatoes tend to be, or orangey yellow tomatoes, like the Sun Gold and Beauty King, and this yellow Radiance one. Look at that. Those ones tend to be fruitier and sweeter, which I like. This is the Painted Lady right here. It's got a little bit of variegation on the leaves, but only in the shade, I've noticed. Something that I learned. This is Persian Basil. The bees love it. I had a really hard time stopping it from going to seed. The leaves are kind of slim. I probably wouldn't grow this particular variety again, but it is beautiful. And it's very fragrant. It smells amazing, which is why the bees love it. I sewed a couple things in here, and it's hard to see, but there's some what's that called? Longe Rouge Sang carrot and cilantro, champion radish, just different fall veggies. Here's some bok choy, Shanghai bok choy, which I eat a lot of, so I made sure to succession sew a bunch of that. Oh, I'm getting distracted. Here's some Dark Galaxy tomatoes and Moldova green. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tomatoes along this 12-foot bed. And then here's some lettuces. This is black-seeded Simpson again, which is a very beautiful and big leaved lettuce, which is great for salads. And just great for cutting and sharing with people. I find that it's very prolific. More bok choys. There's some Purple Lady bok choy that's kind of interspersed through here. There's some dill along with my peppers. I'll show you the front side of that. Let's see. This is more squash. This is one of the crushed hearts, smaller than the one that I showed you next to the corn, but there's some more here. zucchini. There's just so much to show you guys. It's crazy. Zucchini. More zucchini. Look at this fat one right here. Big old zucchini. And these, there's another Sungold. It's a volunteer. And these are my Cherokee purples. This was also a gift tomato, but it's doing really well. One of my friends really likes heirloom tomatoes, so she's gonna buy some of those from me, I think. Shishito peppers. So a lot of them are turned red. I looked this up and I guess they do get a little spicier, but shishitos aren't really a spicy pepper, so I'm not too worried about it. Gonna fry those or blister those up this weekend for a party. Here's some sweet banana peppers. I harvested a bunch to pickle already, but here's some in there. This is called the King of the North bell pepper. There's a purple bell pepper. I just got this one from McLendon's. And then there's a big old one right here. That's the California Wonder. It's turning a little, it's blushing a little bit. Then I just have like a couple mystery peppers in there, which is always fun. I'm not too picky about my peppers. I'll just kind of slice them up and fry them. But it's nice to have different varieties for sure. Green zebra hiding in there. Not quite ready yet. And then these are the Principe Borghese, I think. They're like some kind of Italian heirloom or something, or maybe French, I don't know. But they're really, really productive, and they're it's a determinate tomato. But as you can tell, it's determined to produce a lot of like branches and lots of tomatoes. So that's been great. The tomatoes are kind of small, not really like a mind-blowing taste or anything, but like a good standard paste tomato. Here's some thyme. Again, lovely just to have some like herbs interspersed throughout your landscape. Just a good idea for food security and sharing with neighbors. Everybody loves herbs, and it's ridiculous to buy herbs from the store when you can get like, you know, it's easy just to grow like enough for a bunch of people. There's a tree collard right there, or a tree kale. I think you can just take like the little branches and just like root them in the ground. That's what somebody did for me. They just gave me a bunch of cuttings and that seemed to work. So I'll be sharing with people in the future probably. More zinnias, cosmos. Let's see. This is kind of overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff here. Corn. This is Tuxana corn. You really get to know your vegetables by name. Like you just like you develop a relationship with them. Like I don't even need like those signs or whatever anymore because I know this is Tuxana and she's doing well. There's a big old Tuxana corn here. Should be ready soon. I hand pollinated them because as you can tell they're not really in a big block, just because I had only a few seeds of each or whatever, and I wanted a variety of corn. So here's a dragon's tongue bush bean. It's pretty much done, I think, but I got a lot of beans from this guy earlier in the year. They're really cool, kind of stripy looking, like a dragon's tongue, whatever that looks like. Blueberries kind of got a little dried out, I think. I don't know. Need to like make sure I mulch them a little better, I guess, for next year. Didn't produce a ton of blueberries, but here's a couple more. It's a fig tree. There's some little figs in there. There's a lot of figs actually. It's probably just, I don't know, whatever the second Breba crop or whatever, the second one, I'll have to wait for that. I didn't get any the first time around. And here's some golden raspberries. I think those are thornless red raspberries, some Marion berries, kind of like my berry hill is what I call it, strawberries, currants. This is like red currant, gooseberry, another red currant. I think they need two to pollinate, so next to each other. Apple, this is like a multi-grafted, it's got 5 different apples on it, although it hasn't produced any. I just got it this year from somebody who was giving it away, so hopefully in another year or two it'll maybe produce some apples. That up there is a rhubarb along with another tree collard. So they like to hang out with each other, it seems like. The rhubarb has really deep roots, so it's great for like soil retention, erosion control. I really like that. And rhubarb is great for, you know, it's edible. It's great for pies and whatever, smoothies or whatever. There's some little annual flowers, some feverfew. There's a Weigela, Crocosmia, Iris, all my friends. And then here's a vine maple. Let's see. What else? I don't even know all of these, to be honest. It's looking a little dead up here. It's been very dry this year, as you all know, in the Pacific Northwest. But hopefully, like in the spring of next year, I'll be able to plant some more stuff here. It's really a hugelkultur mound, so it's built up of logs with, like, you know, wood chips and twigs and debris, and then like more compost on top, so that the rotting wood in the core really breaks down over time and then like kind of acts like a sponge to soak up water, theoretically. But I think I've read that it takes a year or maybe even 2 years to really develop that system or that core to make sure it's fully rotted. So maybe next year. But I just liked that it kind of created a little border for me. That is a lemon cypress. Got some potatoes around here. I'm not gonna harvest them, so they're just gonna be potatoes there for a while, which is fine. That's a flowering currant. I love flowering currants, and that's gonna get big, so that's nice. Kind of block out some of the road noise. Let's just walk up there. I don't want to point, my arm's hurting pointing all the way over there. Not that much going on here. It's kind of a dry zone, sadly. Ivy's coming back, blackberries coming back, but still looking 10 times, 100 times better than what it was before, which was all grass and weeds. I'll have to pull that blackberry out. Some kind of euphorbia, calla lily. What else? Penstemon. Some of it's like, you can tell it's kind of struggling, but a lot of it is like still doing pretty good. Dogwood, red twig dogwood. Flowers are really cute in the springtime. Another euphorbia, tree collard, rhubarb. There's the flowering currant. Beautiful. I think that's flowering currant or thimbleberry, one of the two. And there is cloudberry right here. It's supposed to have like little, like kind of like little golden raspberries. And I don't know what that plant is, but I'll come back to that in a minute. That is sumac, which apparently is a little bit spready, or it likes to spread by seed or whatever, but so far I think it's fine. Arjuga, and this is the same as that one that I didn't know over there, but it has like these really crazy spiky things. We're coming out into the road, which is interesting and fun. Mullein, rhubarb, spiky plant. I like this little, that guy right there. I don't know what that is, but I like him. This is cotton Easter, which I got a bunch of, somebody was just giving it away and just popped it in the ground. And I want to say that's called miscanthus grass. I don't know. Here is the Pattison Panache Vert at Blanc. It's like, I got all these French things going on that they sound really cool, but it's just a squash. It's got like little like patty pan squashes, basically. They've got kind of green stripes or whatever, so that's kind of cool. Got a lot of squash. Let's see. And got some basil still. Got some amaranth. This is Love Lies Bleeding Amaranth. I don't know if it'll fully mature by the time summer ends, but we'll see. It's supposed to be a good spinach substitute anyway, so it's kind of cool. got some carrots sowed in between here. That's what I mean by intercropping and succession sowing. You always have to have things, like basically never have your soil bare. Wherever there's bare soil, that just means something needs to be planted. And just highlighting my tomatoes again. Very beautiful. Look how yellow that is. It's like just like it's like a highlighter. I've never seen such a yellow tomato, and they're really sweet too. This is New Zealand Blacks, and it just volunteered here because I sowed some there last year. Random potato, parsley. I think I covered everything. Parisian carrots. They're kind of like this round and short carrots. Parsnips. Harris model parsnip. I love parsnip, but they take a while, so decided to get them in the ground sooner than last year, as well as all my root veggies. Brussels sprouts. This is a tiger melon, which I don't know if it'll produce any melons for me. They're kind of small, but we'll see. Some struggling cucumbers. Those are the Persian ones, which did really well for me last year. I think I just sowed them a little bit too much in the warm season rather than the spring and the fall, which is when, I don't know, I think they just didn't like the heat that much. Here's some blue curled Scotch kale. That's a red curry squash, which isn't red yet, obviously. There is scarlet kale. Beautiful, very productive. I love how kale just kind of hangs out in the summer, doesn't complain. Let's see what else. Okay, this is my grapevine, and just like the fruit trees, I prune this back way too heavily. It's suffering from some kind of like mite. I forget what that's called. It's not like fatal or anything. It's just kind of like annoying for the plant to have to deal with. But I think next year it'll produce. It just kind of produced a lot of leaves because it got upset at me that I pruned it all the way down to the main stem, and it just flushed out with all these leaves, which I totally understand. I don't blame it. Let's see. It's back here. So my mom and I repainted this shed, and I added this like black border on it. I really like it. It's very farmhouse. That's the yard. Got a mix of things in here. Purple sprouting broccoli, zinnia, cosmos, more purple sprouting broccoli. And I tried the hugelkultur stuff here, but I think because it's pine, it's kind of allelopathic or whatever. It like inhibits growth. And so, I don't know. I'm struggling with that. But, oh, here's my crocosmia. Beautiful. I just put these here to kind of like section it off, but also be able to walk past it. Strawberries, some more sedge. I could probably plant up this area a little better next year, but one step at a time. Here's some more basil. I don't know if they'll get big enough in time, but we'll see. Arugula, brassicas, spinach and lettuce. Always got to have that. Leeks, some more cucumbers, kale. Probably oversowed those, but that's okay. Better to have more than not enough. And it's really important to actually plan ahead. I realize that when people say it's like the second spring, summer is like the second spring when you're sowing for fall. So it's really important. I did not do that at all last year. There's a weed. So we've got our Cimarron lettuce, red leaf lettuce that I sowed on these hugelkultur mounds, leftover kohlrabi from the spring, some type of, I think this is black-seeded Simpson lettuce again, and a cucumber that I didn't have space for, so I put it in the mound. So let's take a look through this garden. Some of the perennials that I established last year, they're pretty much done flowering. They're more of like spring flowering perennials, but they're doing good. Tomatillos, so I've got some little guys in here. Hopefully I'll get some salsa out of them. There's 3 plants here, so there should be enough for pollination. Tomatillos need more than one, or they need another tomatillo to pollinate. There's some beets. They were the ones in the springtime that were struggling that I mentioned before. This is astronomy sweet corn rather. And I didn't do a very good job of watering them. That's why they're all very petite. But hopefully I can get some seed to save and try again. They were just seeds I bought from Etsy, so probably not the most reliable, but I was excited because they're kind of like rainbow corn, but they're also like sweet corn, not like for drying. So yeah, here's some shadier area plants like fuchsias, columbines, hostas, things like that. Doing pretty good. You can see some of the fall leaves on the ground. So beautiful. I love fall. Probably my favorite season. I don't know, late summer and fall. Again, this area needs to be planted into, but it's a lot better than the blackberries that were here before, obviously. And I'm really happy with it, even though there isn't a ton of anything flowering or fruiting up here. That's fine with me. This is a hardy kiwi plant. I'm kind of training it up this little pole. Probably give it a legitimate trellis sometime soon. Bracken ferns. I think they're supposed to be purple asters, but no flowers yet. We shall see. Some strawberries. Just walk up here, take a little look. It's always good to have another perspective on your garden, right? Here's a cascade of berms going down. There's hosta down there. Maybe one day I'll build a path to reconnect, but so far, let's head back down and let's see. So I planted an Indian plum there. There's another sumac in here. Just different plants I've been getting from people during trades or swaps or giveaways or whatever. Like, as long as it's not too invasive, I'm just gonna plop it in the ground, and it's better than grass, right? Here's a delicata squash. So out of all the, it's pretty barren over here except for on the mounds, except for this guy. So this is a delicata squash, which I'm really happy about. I didn't even know that, I wasn't sure if it could grow on these hugelkultur mounds, but so far so good. Here's some other ones that I sowed probably early August or late July. Hard to get consistent watering on these because they're so far up this hill, but I try. Some other plants over here, a little purple euphorbia. I added another load of wood chips on top. It's just hard to get it up these hills, but it's important to make sure that the weeds and stuff don't pop back up after you initially sheet mulch. So I just decided to be a little heavy on the wood chips this time around. And then in the future, maybe I can relax a little bit. Here's some kale, GM. These are actually called the Brightest Brilliant Quinoa. So quinoa, I did not know until this year when I started growing my own that they looked like this. Super fascinating and really beautiful. Look at that, rainbow kind of patterning. And they're all different. Every stalk has a different colored grain on it. It's super fascinating. So I'm gonna probably harvest them for quinoa. I like quinoa. I just wanted to mostly see the flowers or that part of the plant because I saw it on the seed packet and it just looks incredible. And if you look up close, they're kind of this camera doesn't have the best zoom, but it's really cool. Just lots of different colors and yeah, cool plant. Probably would grow that again, maybe more of it too. So yeah, just an overview of the food forest. We're transitioning into fall, but still in late summer here in Seattle. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a nice day.